Chapter 9, Teaching and Learning by Elena, Ashley, and Kelly. The learning objectives for this chapter are to introduce middle school concepts, to examine coping skills in middle school, to introduce adolescents and their progress in school, and to compare test-taking scores between other countries. The adolescent's developmental stage is between the ages of 11 to 18.
While in high school, many students start to learn how
Middle
to think
schools
more
and secondary education
consists
of primarily grades 6 through 8.
In
The correlation
society,
between
most students are
your
encouraged to
health
attend
and
college,
your
and some
wealth
high schools offer classes that
with
have
the
similar
completion of
teaching
secondary
curriculum to those in
education is very
colleges.
high at this time
These would be IB and AP
because
classes, which stand for
it's proven
International
that
Baccalaureate
adults
and
are
Advanced
healthier and
Placement
wealthier
classes.
if they complete secondary
Students
school,
also have to face the
but
high-stakes
it's
test,
a
where
risk for
students in
low
24
SES
states in
boys
the
from
US
minority
are
ethnic
required
groups
to
because
pass
they
in
are at
order
a
to
higher risk for
graduate.
quitting school
This can add
due to
on
not
to
having a
students'
successful role
stress,
model.
which can lead them to coping by either
Decline of school
quitting
engagement is
or
also
blaming other
an
forces
important factor at
besides
this time
themselves if they
due
fail,
to bullying, where appearance
related
becomes
to
important among the
the
students,
middle school
and
coping
they
strategies
will
that
seek
Elena
approval in ways
mentioned
that adults
earlier.
disapprove, and if other
Even though
students
college
don't
is encouraged by
participate, then
society,
they'll be
not a lot
bullied
of
and kind of
students either
outcasted.
start or
Friendships
finish
with
college
opposite
to get
sex
either their associate's or
and new
bachelor's
sexual
degree.
urges arise during this
Adolescents
time, where
start
sexual
leaning towards
conquests are
going straight
flaunted,
into a trade.
and
This has posed
students
the
who
question
don't
if
have
learning
high
is easier by experience or
sexual
school-like learning.
activity at this time are
Lots of
usually
people
either
have
bullied
tested
or
out
picked on
this
for it.
idea,
And
and
independent seeking and more peer
it has
engagement,
seen a
students will
common
begin to
thread
engage in more peer
of
activities such as sports
people
or
being
different clubs
able
during the
to
school
do
year,
on-the-job training
and they will also begin
easier
to compare themselves
than
against their
some
peers during this
would
time a
do
lot more.
learning in
These
school,
factors can
as you
have
have to
a
consider
negative
learning
engagement on the
disabilities
students'
and
involvement
issues
in
like
school.
that.
They will become more withdrawn and not want
It
to
is a difficult
participate as much,
question,
and that can
though,
cause them to not do as well, which can
to
correlate
answer,
to
because
their completion of
everyone
secondary school.
learns differently, and skills are hard to measure through tests. The PISA exam, for example, is a test designed to measure a student's ability to take what they have learned and to answer questions from that. 15-year-olds around the world have taken this test, and there is a large result gap between the U.S. and other countries.
Some more information about the PISA exam. Again, as Ashley said before, the PISA exam is an assessment which measures the 15-year-old's ability to use reading, mathematics, and science knowledge and skills to meet their real-life challenges. So the reason why they chose the age 15 is because there are some 15-year-olds who want to end their formal school education at that age and start working. So for the PISA exam, we have 6 different levels for the questions that they can get. Level 1 being the easiest, and of course level 6 being the hardest. And in the chart beforehand, which you could see here in the previous slide, it shows the top rated countries, and you can see the different scores. This is where the score limit came from for each country for the specific student, and of course the chart before was an average of all of that. So again, reiterating what Ashley said beforehand, the United States has a fairly low performance score compared to the majority of other high rated nations, especially on questions 2 onwards. If you look at other countries that are compared to the United States often, such as even Canada, China, the majority of their students have at least all the way until 4, where they start falling off of some of the questions. So here we can do a couple questions. So the first question for a sample, this is taken directly from the PISA website. So in January, the new CDs of the band For You to Rock and the Kicking Kangaroos were released. In February, the CDs of the band No One Starling and the Metal Folkies followed. The following graph shows the sales of the band CD from January to June. And so the question is, in which month did the band No One Starling sell more CDs than the band The Kicking Kangaroos for the first time? So you can see these types of math questions. They're really simple. Even like most 10-year-olds can solve these problems. So there's like no calculus, no calculators, no complex formulas. But later on, you can see there are some questions that get more and more difficult, and I'll point out specifically which one where even like the majority of the top nations got that question wrong. So if you guys can answer this question for me, I'll give you about 30 seconds. All right, so the answer is April. Alright, so here's the percentage of students who scored on level 1 for that year. So you can see the majority of the countries here, they're the higher rated countries. There are different provinces in China there too, with Shanghai being at 99. You see Korea and Japan sitting there at 97. If you look further down, Canada is at 96%, and then the United States is at 92%. And the OECD average is the average basically of all the test takers throughout the world is an average of 92%. All right, so this is a level 2 question. So Helen has just got a new bike. It has a speedometer which sits on the handlebar. The speedometer can tell Helen the distance she travels and her average speed for a trip. So the question is, on one trip, Helen rode 4 kilometers in the first 10 minutes and then 2 kilometers in the next 5 minutes. Which one of the following statements is correct? And then there's the options there, and I'll give you about 1 minute to finish up your answers. So the answer is B. Helen's average speed is the same in both. And so again, here are the percentages of students who scored level 2 or above. So you can see again, China and sitting up there at 96. There's Korea at 91%. Japan's at 89%. And you can see the United States actually scored for averagely lower than the average for the OECD groups or countries. My bad. So this is a level 3 question. This question is tricky to a lot of 15-year-olds. And this is actually the question which 20% of the top nations got this question wrong. So Chris has just received her car driving license and wants to buy her first car. This table shows details of the 4 cars which she finds at the local car dealer. Which car's engine capacity is the smallest? So I'll give you 1 minute for this. All right, so the answer is D, diesel. And you can see here that there are a lot of top rated countries and they scored extremely low. So you can see like Japan sitting there at 72%, Korea at 76%, Canada at 65%. The OECD average is at 55%. And you can see the United States is performing much lower now, lower than even average, 48%. And because of these things, the United States scoring lower than the majority of the high-rated PSA countries, especially average in science, mathematics, which we're doing right now, and they're like just above average in reading. The United States education can definitely be improved, especially compared to the other countries. This is usually what the PISA exam is used for. There's an example in Germany where you can see there's a large difference between the lower SCS students versus the higher ES students, and it's probably the largest gap even within like the more lower SCS countries. And so Germany was able to make those two averages more even. So this is the final question I'm going to give to you, because if you actually look further than level 4, it gets extremely difficult. Which is why the percentages from now on you can see is lower, especially even in the higher rated countries. So for this one, a revolving door includes 3 wings which rotate within a circular shaped space. The inside diameter of this space is 2 meters, which is 200 centimeters. The 3 doors wings divide the space into 3 equal sectors. The plan below shows the door wings in 3 different positions viewed from the top. So the question is, the door makes 4 complete rotations in a minute. There is room for a maximum of 2 people in each of the 3 door sectors. What is the maximum number of people that can enter the building through the door in 30 minutes? So this one's a hard one, so I'll give you a bit more. the answer is D, 720. And you can see the average for this one is quite low. China, of course, is still ranked pretty high for this compared to the average, as China is 76%, Korea is at 55%, Japan's at 48%, Canada is at 39%, the OECD is at 31%, and you can see the United States is at 25%. And the higher, of course, the higher level you go, the lower the score percentages or the score averages will be. So in conclusion, during middle school years, there is a decline in school engagement. Middle school years are usually get more stressful than their elementary counterparts, and there are coping mechanisms to help improve school quality and making sure they're focused in studying. High school is more focused on the college-bound students, especially with their questions with test taking to prepare for the future. And these are our sources.